Biggest Wall Street events of the year, with several big investment banks among the interested parties. Rich Thomason reporting.
Stocks recovered most of their earlier losses as volatility returned to Wall Street after 2 days of solid gains. At the closing bell, the Dow was off 61 points, but the Nasdaq was up by 38. The S&P 500 up 7. For the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Bob Agnew.
News and analysis at townhall.com.
On Point Weather, brought to you by our friends at Palmetto State Armory.
On 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. Clear and comfortable this evening, the low dropping to 62. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy, a few scattered afternoon showers. Our high is 81. For the weekend, look for 84 on Saturday with a blend of sunshine and clouds. For Easter Sunday, not as nice. Showers likely in the afternoon. Our high is 80. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, and fireplaces. Spring sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The Point. This is The Point. Make thepointradio.com. The Point.
This is Sports Talk with Phil Kornblut and Chris Bergen. Sports Talk is heard across the state on radio affiliates of the Sports Talk Media Network and is streaming live on SportsTalkSC.com, as well as Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. The South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number to call in is 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now, here are Phil and Chris with tonight's edition of Sports Talk.
All right, welcome in, everybody. Good evening, and it's great to have you with us on this big Thursday night edition of Sports Talk Media Network. Good to be back with you after being off last night. Chris Bergen is back once again from the Bergie Palace, and we have the plumber, Josh Cohen, in place here at our studios in downtown Columbia. Got a delicious show for you tonight. Delicious. Russell, we don't normally cross over, Bergie, into politics on the program. Well, I take that back. Hang on. We do have Governor Hodges on during the football season, so that's a bit of a political crossover. But that's more fun and games because we're picking games. It's fun and games. It's nothing serious. We're not talking politics. We're not talking policy. We're not talking things that impact people's lives except for his own life because he loves to win the football filibuster, which he's dominated over a variety of opponents over the years. But tonight, 6:35, we'll welcome in State Senator Russell Ott to a Sports Talk. He's a Democrat from the Richland County area, the Columbia area. And we're going to talk about the vote by the Senate that overrode the veto by the governor that not only keeps information about NIL deals between South Carolina schools and their athletes, it also keeps any information out of the public as far as how much money is going to a particular sport. That was one of the things they were trying to kind of reach a compromise on. Okay, if you're not going to – the governor was like, okay, I think you need to open it up and let this information be public, but at the very least, publicize, make public, let the public know how much money football is spending, how much money basketball is spending per school, et cetera, et cetera. They have voted to not allow any of that out in the public. So we're going to talk with him about that. I'm not sure which position where he falls on this issue, but he is a state senator, and Governor Hodges hooked us up with him, and he was more than happy to come on board with us tonight at 6:30 to talk about it because, for me, it's a big issue because I believe in transparency when it comes to our universities and our athletic programs. We publicize the salaries of the coaches. We publicize the salaries of the people in the legislature. That's all public record. And of course they do fall back on the argument that these are students. Yeah.
Okay.
They're students and they're protected by certain student laws, I guess you would say. But I argue that when people are pouring their hard-earned money by the millions into the program and the money is going not for scholarship, not for books, not for room, not for food. It's going directly into the individual's pockets to use as he or she pleases. So you are paying them yourself. You should have the opportunity, if you so choose, to be able to see who is making what. So anyway, I don't want to spill the whole beans on my argument right here at the opening. We'll save it for when the senator joins us. But I look forward to that.
I do as well. I'm really fascinated to hear from that side of the coin what the argument was for this. What did Shane Beamer, let's face it, it was Shane Beamer and Dabo Sweeney that swung this vote the direction they wanted. What was
and
the argument
ADs.
that they...
Don't let the ADs off the hook.
Point. Very
if
good
you're
point.
opposed to this, don't let the ADs off the hook. Oh,
Very
and
good point.
your boys down there at Coastal Carolina were involved as well, I believe.
Yeah, Chance Miller, I think, was there, the athletics director at Coastal, but, how much pull he has versus how much pull Jeremiah Donati and Graham Neff and Dabo Sweeney and Shane Beamer have, I guess we'll find out. But I'd be fascinated just to hear their argument, what they said as to the reason that none of this should be out in the public domain, that there should not be transparency. We need to keep this quiet. I'll be really interested to hear that argument, what they told the state legislature about this.
Yeah. Well, I want to be a professional about this. And no name calling. Senator Ott's kind enough to come on the show. And again, I don't know which way he voted here. I don't know. I don't know his position. So I'm looking forward to hearing what his position is. And then, whichever position he happens to have taken, we'll find out. If we need to counterpoint that or go along with what he's saying. Point, counterpoint, as they say. We got baseball tonight, Bergie. How about South Carolina and Texas? What are you looking at there?
This will be an interesting setup. I saw Inside the Gamecocks, who you can listen to here on the Chief Sports app along with us. They had an interesting tweet about this earlier. They did some research on this, and with the pitcher tonight for Carolina, his name escapes me, who pitched the other night.
Alex Valentin.
Yes, Valentin, or as Coach Lee calls it, Valentin.
No,
have we ever
Valentin.
figured out if it's Valentin or Valentin?
According to listen to Derek Scott enough, it's Valentin. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Anyway, or Valentine. Anyway, he will be the first pitcher at the University of South Carolina to ever start back-to-back ball games for baseball.
That's interesting. Yeah.
I thought it was a fascinating point. I really did. Now, again, he only pitched one inning the other night, so they've got to get off to a terrific start, and it's going to be a tremendous challenge. If they're able to scratch out a game, maybe even two against Texas, I think that is a monumental series win for the Gamecocks, considering where they are right now. I'd like to see.
Did you just suggest that they might win the series against Texas?
No, I didn't suggest that.
Okay.
I don't think they will. I said if they were able to, it would be monumental.
Okay.
I don't think they will.
Yeah.
I'm not sure they avoid getting swept, quite frankly.
Well, I mean, look, the things they have to do to beat this team, they've got to have clutch hitting. The other night, even though it wasn't this kind of opponent against Wofford, they had a bunch of two-out hits. Almost all their runs, what they score, 11 runs? I think 9 of their runs came with two outs. You're going to have that kind of hitting, number one. And then, of course, the pitching has got to be excellent. You got to play clean in the field, et cetera, et cetera. So can they put it all together and have one of those great weekends at home and sort of win the fans back over? I mean, they gotta do some things to get. And, of course, it's tough. First of all, you're playing tonight on a Thursday night, and that would ordinarily keep the crowd down. And now it's obviously Easter weekend that you're going up against as well, and you're having a bad season. But it is Texas, and I would think the allure of coming to watch Texas play in your stadium would be quite the lure to get the fans to come out in big numbers. And if the Gamecocks could somehow manage to win tonight, then generate some juice for the next two games.
I think that's the perfect formula. They need some fan support, and it's understandable why Gamecock fans are not interested in Carolina baseball right now. They've been bad. And even with the coaching change, I mean, Monty hasn't found the magic pixie dust yet. Now, he did the other night against Wofford. We'll see if he is able to continue doing that this weekend against an awfully good opponent. But, yeah, they're going to need fan support to have a chance, and I think it's going to be a wait and see. I think they're going to have to win some ball games. It's that old chicken versus the egg situation, Phil. Mm-hmm. They're going to need to win some ball games to get the fans back on their side, but perhaps the only way they can win games like this is to already have the fans on their side and pulling for them. So, tough sell, I think, this weekend against an awfully good Texas team.
All right, let's turn our attention to Clemson. What in the hell is going on with the Clemson baseball team?
They're a mess. I mean, last night's game, they were down 3-0 after the first inning, and I believe – don't know this to be the case, but Eric Bakich got thrown out before Sports Talk was over last night. Give you an idea of how long he stayed around for that game that started at 6:30. He was gone by the end of the second inning. I mean, it was crazy. He was arguing a situation with Lichtenberger. He violated the pitch clock. Mm-hmm. He thought he had gotten a timeout. The umpire didn't grant it to him, so Bakich comes out to argue because it was the final strike of the inning. So that ended the inning. They're out of the inning, so Bakich is out there arguing with the home plate umpire. He comes back. He gets tossed at some point in time during the commercial break. As best I can tell, he comes back out to argue further. I think he was just hoping maybe this will fire our guys up, but it's been the opposite. And it's kind of funny. This is the third time in his relatively short tenure that Eric Bakich has been thrown out of a game at Clemson. It's almost a rite of spring. He's going to get thrown out of one ball game per year, and he just hit his quota last night. And Wake Forest is good, Phil, but they're not 15-4 better, I wouldn't think, than Clemson was. And the Tigers just, I don't know what's going on with them. And this is going to be a tough road swing for them out to Stanford, then Santa Clara, then come back. You get North Carolina, who's playing some good baseball as well, back next week at home. Mm-hmm. They may play themselves out of the ACC race before the end of April.
Well, they're down in the basement right now. I mean, they're way on down there, and they got a lot of work to do. And when you look at them position by position and what is going on, what do you see? Do you see – obviously they gave up a ton of runs last night.
Oh, yeah.
So their pitching hasn't been great. Their hitting has been suspect as well. And I think they're making mistakes in the field, the things that all bad teams tend to do, which was not expected of this Clemson team by the experts going into this season based on the preseason rankings and the rankings that they carried through about the first month of the season.
Well, I think the injury to Jaron Purify has been a big deal. Now, that's come here late, but I think not having him in the lineup and especially his sort of stabilizing force up the middle defensively, I think is a big issue. But they may have missed, and you're asking the wrong guy because I'm not as plugged into baseball as some other people would be. But I think they probably missed on some transfer guys that they brought in. Let's even look at it from the standpoint of their starting pitching. I don't think Canuck's been nearly as good as he has been in the past couple of years. You start to wonder if teams are starting to finally figure out that changeup that nobody could hit was unhittable his first 2 years. But as you've watched his career progress, his ERA keeps going up. And now, in addition to giving up too many runs, he's not getting any run support at all. So It's just a bad formula right now. And I don't know what the coaching staff does other than just run them back out there and hope it turns around this weekend at Stanford.
A little closer look at this Texas team coming to South Carolina tonight, ranked number 2. The Longhorns coming in with a record of 24-4. They have won their last 4. They beat Texas State in a tight one the other night, 10-8. They just swept Oklahoma last weekend, but they were, except for the first game, they ruled them in the opener 14-0. Then won 4-3 in 10 and 5-4 in 10. Oklahoma, of course, ranked number 8, so they're pretty good. They lost a game to Houston. Prior to that, they took 2 out of 3 from Auburn. Who else has beaten them? They've lost 1 game to Ole Miss in that series. And does that account for all their losses? Tarleton State beat them 6-1. Somehow, some way, midweek game. So you can catch them on a bad night. But looking at their lineup, their center fielder, Alden Robbins, is batting .372. He's got 10 home runs. You got to keep an eye on him. The first baseman, Casey Bora, he's batting .333. He's got 10 home runs. So those are the power guys. And, of course, they have one of the best catchers in the country in Carson Tenney. He's batting .293. He's got 7 home runs. Obviously, it's a talented lineup, and they're pitching. They will be starting a right-hander tonight, Ruger Riojas, who is 5-0 with a 1.59. And then tomorrow, a left-hander, Luke Harrison, 3-0 with a 2.65. And then Saturday, a left-hander, Dylan Valantis, 3-0 with a 2.08. So this the pitching once again, stupid. And getting runs off these guys will be hard to come by for South Carolina. That's why you're going to have to, you know what, you're going to have to play small ball. If you can get a free 90, as Monty likes to say, move them ahead and then hope to get that clutch hit. You're going to have to manufacture some runs. I mean, trying to sit back and play for the big inning is probably not going to get it done.
No, and you've got to be better at the plate too, from a standpoint of your patience and taking pitches off the plate, letting those balls come through. Well, they strike out double figure numbers again on Tuesday, if I'm not mistaken.
16 times.
Yeah, you can't do that and hope to beat a team, even be competitive with a team as talented as Texas. You've got to put the ball in play, especially as you pointed out, clutch hitting when you've got runners on base. You can't strike out with runners at second and third in less than 2 outs. You've got to put the ball in play.
This will be the first time these two teams have met as SEC
Isn't that
opponents.
Interesting? Yeah.
Yeah. Texas is 7-2 all time against the Gamecocks. Of course, they've played twice in national championship settings. I think they've played twice in national championship settings, right?
75 and 2002.
Yeah, that's right. So there you go. We're looking forward to that. Texas, of course, one of the blue bloods of college baseball, no doubt about it, and they have one of the great coaches in the game in Jim Schlossnagle. 1,014 wins, 473 losses in his 25th season. He's 68-18 in his second season. See, Texas is getting out of their Hall of Fame coach that South Carolina did not get out of the Hall of Fame coach that they hired in Palmineri. You know, they thought Palmineri would come in and have this golden record for them, but that obviously was not the case.
Maybe the Gamecocks should have done a similar circumstance and hired Jack Leggett. That would have been about what the Longhorns did with Jim Schlossnagle.
Yeah, I can see that happening. Okay, well, it's good to have you with us on this Thursday. We're jam-packed with a lot of stuff. Mike Morgan at the top of hour number 2. Got some recruiting for you as well. Of course, we'll update you on that. More from Shane Beamer that he spoke, of course, earlier this week to update the Gamecock spring. Got a little bit more from him that we'll share with you as well. And we'll check on text messages and phone calls. 888-898-2525 is the number. Text message line is 803-900-4847, 803-900-4847. And the SEC football championship game and others like that might be a thing of the past in the near future. If college football's playoff is expanded, that's the thoughts of the AD at the University of Alabama, of all people. We'll talk about that as well. Be right back.
I'm State Treasurer Curtis Loftus, here to share some great news. Future Scholar, South Carolina's 529 college savings plan, can now be used for a lifetime of learning. From K through 12 to college and beyond, saving tax-free for your child or grandchild's education has never been easier. You can start with any amount. Contributions are tax-deductible and earnings grow tax-free. Discover the smart, easy way to save for college today at futurescholar.com.
If you're juggling multiple credit card balances, you know how quickly high interest can add up and how stressful it can become. Now through June 30th, 2026, well-qualified borrowers can pause interest when they transfer credit card balances and enjoy 0% APR for 12 months. A balance transfer can simplify your life, making it easier to focus and manage your budget. This limited time offer can help you move forward with confidence. Upon expiration, APR will then revert to the standard variable APR, currently 12.5% to 17.90%. If credit criteria are not met, 17.9% APR will apply. Visit apply.foundersfcu.com to get started today. Not a Founders member yet? Stop by an office near you or visit us online at foundersfcu.com to see if you qualify for membership. Membership qualification required. Terms and conditions apply.
Every lottery ticket purchase keeps education in our state moving forward. And fact, the lottery has raised more than $200 million for state school buses to get our students to school safely every day. Then, the lottery helps those students go even further in their education by funding the Life, Hope, and Palmetto Fellow Scholarships. So remember, when you play the lottery, you're keeping South Carolina students on the road to success. Learn more at sceducationlottery.com/betteryou.
Calling all turkey hunters, this is Major Billy Downer with the South Carolina Department of Natural Resources. Turkey season is coming soon. The most common accident while turkey hunting is failing to identify your target. Know the identifying features of a turkey. Make sure of your target and what lies beyond it before you pull the trigger. Remember, safe hunting is no accident. For more information on hunter education, visit dnr.sc.gov.
It definitely feels like beachy weather out there today here in South Carolina. Temperatures in the mid-80s. It feels like summertime. Time to make those plans to get to the beach, get away from everything and everybody. And that phone number to call for the man to make it happen for you is 843-237-4246. That'll connect you with James Smith Real Estate, Jimmy Smith, and they'll help you put together your perfect beach getaway online at Paulie'sVacationRentals.com. Pawleys Island, Litchfield, Garden City, Murrells Inlet, all those areas up and down the coast, they can help you find a location with the size that you need in lodging, and also, of course, at the price that fits your budget. So just give them a call and let them help you out. 843-237-4246, your perfect beach getaway. James Smith Real Estate, Jimmy Smith, Paulie'sVacationRentals.com. All right, so last night, Eric Bakich got an early shower, Bergie.
He certainly did. I'm not sure we've had a coach ever get tossed before the end of our show, but that's exactly what happened last night in the second inning, arguing about a pitch clock violation. It was a weird play. A lot of it happened off camera, unless you were in Charlotte last night. Certainly we were doing the show, so we didn't know exactly what had happened. So afterwards, Coach Backett spoke with the media outside the stadium on one of the side streets up at Uptown Charlotte, and here's his explanation as to why he got tossed last night against Wake Forest.
You know, we have offensive timeouts, and I thought the umpire was giving Litch timeout because he clearly called timeout. I would have called timeout myself, and so when they had that conversation, that's exactly what I thought was happening. Is we were just taking a timeout because he was doing something with his batting gloves, and then that conversation just turned into the explanation was he said he didn't have to give him timeout, which is I guess the umpire's discretion. So it's not why we lost, and it really didn't factor into the outcome of the game. And anything bitching about the umps just looks like sour grapes and looks soft. So I'm not going to do it. And, the umpires have been good all year. They're certainly not our problem. We're our own problem, and we've got to get out of our own way and get out of our own self-inflicted wounds. But it wasn't the umpire's fault tonight. We can't expect to get every calls when you're fighting it. And so it is what it is. But I'll always defend our players, especially if I think they would, something like that where I felt like I needed to stick up for Litch. I'll always do that, and we'll never shy away from that.
Well, I tell you what, Coach Bakich is feeling it right now in terms of the way his team is playing, the losing kind of piling up, and he's trying to keep the positive mojo going by saying this won't continue and they'll get this thing turned around, but it's not happening. Now they face a crucial trip out to Stanford, and Stanford's not very good. But, I mean, traveling out there and playing at that stadium, it's a kind of unique stadium as well, as I recall. They call it, there's a nickname for it. They call it the Pit. What do they call that?
Is it Sunken Diamond?
That's it, Sunken Diamond.
Okay,
Sunken
that's
Diamond.
The place, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, And you never know. I mean, Stanford traditionally is good in baseball.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
So they've got to get this thing turned around starting right away.
19-11. Who would have thought that 30 games into the year, going into the season, and having lost 7 of their last 8? I mean, they've hit a massive slump, and this is a perfect time to get out of it because it's not like the conference play is going to get any easier. With Stanford, you never know. And, Phil, you're talking about flying out there today, having to turn around and play tomorrow. It's not like they got a chance to go out a couple days early because my guess is they spent the night in Charlotte and flew out this morning.
That's
Unless they flew out late last night. You could hear them loading the bus while Coach Backich was doing his postgame. So, I don't know. It's a weird setup, and this is where, bringing in teams 3,000 miles away from the majority of the league just doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
No, this has got to be an expensive trip. I mean, to go.
Oh, man.
So
Don't you know it?
If they got out there today, so you're there Thursday and through the weekend, and you're staying and playing Santa Clara, so another day on the West Coast before you fly back, and then you've got to get ready to play North Carolina. And I remind everybody what happened to the Clemson basketball team when they came back from their West Coast trip. They had a great West Coast trip. They were looking like $1 million. And they came home, and they fell apart for about 2 weeks.
Never the same.
Yeah, I mean, well, they kind of recovered, but for about 2 weeks there, maybe a week and a half, they couldn't beat anybody. They just weren't the same team that played at such a high level. So you do have to wonder about this cross-country travel and how it affects these folks. Okay, we'll be right back.
On Point Weather, brought to you by our friends at Palmetto State Armory.
On 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. Clear and comfortable this evening, the low dropping to 62. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy, a few scattered afternoon showers. Our high is 81. For the weekend, look for 84 on Saturday with a blend of sunshine and clouds. For Easter Sunday, not as nice. Showers likely in the afternoon. Our high is 80. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
If you've never had genuine Wagyu or Hereford steaks and burgers, you don't know what you're missing. Time to order the best of the best from HandJCattle.com. These are local farmers in Saluda where tradition meets quality. The best quality beef and a discount for Point listeners. Enter keyword The Point as one word and get 10% off, plus free delivery in Lexington and Richland County orders of $50 or more. It's cooked in season over at HandJCattle.com.
The Point.
The acting attorney. With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has asked the Army's top uniformed officer to step down as the United States wages a war against Iran. Top Pentagon spokesman Sean Parnell said Thursday that General Randy George will be retiring from his position as 41st Chief of Staff of the Army effective immediately. Pentagon officials aren't offering a reason for George's departure, which comes nearly 5 weeks into U.S.-Israeli attacks on Iran. President Trump said Pam Bondi is out as his Attorney General. Trump, in a social media post on Thursday, named Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche as the acting Attorney General, though 3 people familiar with the matter have said he has privately discussed Lee Zeldin, the head of the Environmental Protection Agency, as a permanent pick. This is SRN News.
Are you tired of that dripping faucet driving you crazy? Is your drain doing more of a gurgle than a flow? Don't despair. Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning is here to save your day. Serving our community as locally owned plumbing experts, Franklin Plumbing tackles everything from minor leaks to major clogs. And we're talking fast, friendly, reliable service. They respect your home. They respect your wallet. Josh and his team offer upfront pricing, and that's important. This team I'm talking about, they're fully licensed. They're insured technicians. They're ready for any plumbing crisis that you might encounter. Whether it's routine maintenance, a stubborn blockage, or a total plumbing overhaul, they'll get the job done right the first time. They've been out to my home, my brother's home, even his business. I'm comfortable, very comfortable, bragging on Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning. Stop letting plumbing problems disrupt your life. Call Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning today and experience the difference that true expertise makes. Visit the website, franklinplumbing.sc.com, or give them a call, 799-2222. That's 799-2222. Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning.
At Palmetto State Armory, we offer the largest selection of guns and ammunition at unbeatable prices. Our knowledgeable and friendly staff are here to provide personalized assistance, ensuring you find exactly what you need. If you enjoy outdoor activities like hunting, camping, or hiking, our clothing and outdoor gear collection has got you covered. We also feature an exceptional indoor range facility where you can experience the thrill of shooting in a safe and controlled environment. Visit us today at PalmettoStateArmory.com or your local retail store. Palmetto State Armory, American made for life.
Spring is the perfect time to make sure your home stays comfortable. For over 12 years, Sweet Comfort Services has been proud to serve Columbia as the best small family-owned heating and air company in the area. Whether you need repairs, a new installation, or preventative maintenance, our trusted team has you covered. We install dependable systems from Goodman and Trane, and if you have a quote from any licensed HVAC company, we'll match or beat their price. Call 803-331-8143 or visit sweethvac.com. Sweet Comfort Services, keeping Columbia comfortable.
If you're juggling multiple credit card balances, you know how quickly high interest can add up and how stressful it can become. Now through June 30th, 2026, well-qualified borrowers can pause interest when they transfer credit card balances and enjoy 0% APR for 12 months. A balance transfer can simplify your life, making it easier to focus and manage your budget. This limited-time offer can help you move forward with confidence. Upon expiration, APR will then revert to the standard variable APR, currently 12.5% to 17.90%. If credit criteria are not met, 17.9% APR and balance transfer fees will apply. Visit apply.foundersfcu.com to get started today. Not a Founders member yet? Stop by an office near you or visit us online at foundersfcu.com to see if you qualify for membership. Membership qualification required. Terms and conditions apply.
The governor's going to be mad at you, Plummer. That's the opening for the governor.
That is hail to the chief from the presidency.
It should be just for the president, but that's all right.
Well, we stole it for the governor when he picks games, and now you're applying it to a lowly senator. No, senators are very powerful people, and they're not lowly. Okay, so we mentioned we were going to have State Senator Russell Ott with us tonight to talk about this vote the Senate just had this week to override the governor's veto, and he has now joined us. Senator Ott, who represents Richland and Lexington and Calhoun counties, I do believe. Senator, welcome into Sports Talk. How are you?
Thanks, guys. And, you know, from time to time, a senator does feel lowly. So I can relate.
I don't know, guy. Are you guys do you catch the spears that the coaches catch, you know, in the back and that sort of stuff? Do you feel it sometimes?
Yeah, I can definitely attest to that. You know, I think there's a lot of parallels with politics and sports, and that's probably one of them. But no more, no less than everybody else, I would say.
Yeah. Well, it's a pleasure having you on with us tonight here on Sports Talk. And thanks to Governor Hodges for
appreciate y'all having me.
Yes, sir. I reached out to Governor Hodges. I said, who would be somebody good to talk to about this? Because I want to go inside and find out the thinking behind this. I don't know what position you had on this, so this is how we'll start. We're talking about the vote by the Senate to override the governor's veto of a bill that now prevents the public from being able to get the information about NIL payments. You can't FOI it. You can't get that information. NIL payments, or for that matter, the amount of money each sport is spending on its athletes at the colleges around South Carolina. What was your position on that?
Yeah, complicated is the best way that I would describe it. But at the end of the day, I begrudgingly voted to override the governor's veto, which does exactly what you said. I think this is Phil that I'm talking to this time.
Yes, sir.
It would allow our colleges and universities not to have to answer FOIA requests or disclose the amount of money that they spend on the players individually, the contracts that they have with the players, or the amount that they spend per sport. They still have to report, and it's still FOIAble, the total amount that they spend at the actual university combined. So the cumulative amount that they spend on revenue sharing and NIL still has to be reported. So the two things that are exempt are the individual players, amounts that they make, and the actual per sport. The per sport was the issue that I had a big problem with. It's legislation already exists at the federal level that prevents colleges and universities from sharing students' personal information. So, I don't believe that was, really anything new, but I, again, begrudgingly went along with it, but I did not at all like the whole issue, I'll say that, but certainly didn't like having to hold my nose and ultimately vote to not make them disclose the amount per sport. And there's a lot of reasons why, but that's where we are. And so the governor's veto was overridden. And, until the NCAA or the federal government takes some action on it, then that's the rules that our state colleges and universities will be operating under.
Do you guys, as a body, do you often override a governor's veto? Is that something that happens regularly?
To be honest with you, under Governor McMaster, there have not been a whole lot of vetoes when it comes to actual legislation. The vast majority of the vetoes, I would say, Governor McMaster has sent to the body has typically been around the budget line item vetoes that we typically always take up. But I don't know the statistics on it, but I would say it's probably 50-50. If you go back over the course of the last 10 years that he's been governor, certainly it's not unusual for the General Assembly to override the governor. You have to understand that it had already been passed. So it's not a leap to think that the General Assembly would still stick to their guns and want to continue to have the legislation that was already passed continue to move forward. But obviously the threshold is higher. And so to pass legislation, it only takes a simple majority to override the governor's veto. It takes 3/5 of the members that are present and voting. The House overrode the governor's veto with extreme ease. Wasn't but a handful of folks that voted to sustain. It came right down to the wire in the Senate, and I think it was a margin of about 2 votes.
Wow.
So it was much closer, and that's why we had a lot of debate yesterday. I spoke on the issue from the floor, and really just talked about, and it's, I have had a lot of conversation today with people explaining why I voted the way I voted, because when I was speaking at the podium yesterday, if you were listening to it, you would think that I was going to vote to sustain. And I was just really so sick and tired of hearing everybody continue to say that it's going to put our sports programs at a competitive disadvantage. And that's what we have heard now for 5 different times. I mean, this is like the 5th time that I think we've had, bills brought before us with the exact same rationale. If we don't do this, it's going to put Clemson, Carolina, Coastal, all of our universities at a competitive disadvantage with all of the other schools that they compete against. And so I finally said, from the podium yesterday, nobody can prove that it would put us at a competitive disadvantage. You're trying to paint a picture that all of our teams will go 0 everything next year if we don't do this. The sky's falling. But they can't prove that it would put us at a competitive disadvantage, but I can't prove that it wouldn't. And at the end of the day, the only thing that is factual is that if we didn't do this, then we would be one of the only, states where our schools compete that did something different. And so at the end of the day, and I do believe that this is not going to be able to be fixed legislatively at the state level. It's something that has to ultimately be taken up by the NCAA or Congress to force everybody to be playing under the same rules across the country.
So you were conflicted as you went through this process.
Yeah.
I can tell you were conflicted. See, my belief is that, when you're talking about state government, universities, and all that, more transparency, the better. And I believe that there's no way that a school's going to have this is going to keep a school from having a disadvantage or an advantage, because you're dealing with now agents. Every player has got an agent, and every agent plays one school against another when it comes to the money that they're trying to get for their client. So if you've got a guy representing a quarterback that South Carolina's recruiting and Clemson's recruiting, well, he's going to get the offer from South Carolina, and he's going to go to Clemson and say,
right.
This is what South Carolina. Now, but here's the problem as I see it. We don't know if this agent is telling the truth. There's no transparency. So how do we even know that he's just not embellishing the offer, whichever offer you want to talk about? How do we not know that he's just embellishing and lying? First of all, these agents that are doing NIL deals, they don't have to be licensed. They could be a cousin, a brother, a best friend representing a high school kid or a transfer. And there's nothing to hold their feet to the fire. They can make up a figure.
But it doesn't really matter, right, Phil? It doesn't really matter if they're lying or they're telling the truth, because at the end of the day, it's like any other business now. It's just like any other employee. They will make the decision based off of the offer whether they leave or they stay.
Mm-hmm.
So it really doesn't even matter how much they're making. If a school wants them and is willing to pay them what they want to get to leave, that's all that really matters. And so, yeah, I mean, I agree with you wholeheartedly, though. I mean, it's that portion of it, the individual player, yeah, I mean, that's the silliest argument. It's not going to make us any more or less competitive. But at the end of the day, that's already protected. That wasn't going to be able to be disclosed anyway. So really it came down to this whole, the actual sport, the actual teams. How much is the school spending on the football team versus how much is the school spending on the women's basketball team? And, that's really the crux of the issue. If they would have just simply said that we were going to not disclose the player info, it wouldn't have been a debate at all. That would have passed. The governor probably wouldn't have even vetoed it, and we wouldn't even be having this conversation.
Why were you? So you were against the team amount being publicized. You didn't feel.
Yeah.
Why were you opposed to letting people know? All right, South Carolina's spending this many millions of dollars on football NIL, this many on men's and women's basketball, et cetera. Why is that a bad deal?
No, I mean, I at the end of the day, that's what I wanted. I wanted them to have to disclose that. For me, it goes much deeper than just that, right? Like I don't believe that public tax dollars should ever be used for this purpose. And that's what I want to continue to try to work on and make sure. We've got to make sure that the taxpayers feel safe and secure, knowing that the amount of money that they're sending to the state is not being appropriated to college and universities in the form of tuition caps. I mean, we send money to colleges every year to try to keep tuition frozen in place, not to have to go up for our students. What we have to continue to make sure of is that money is not flowing some way, somehow into the athletic department for these revenue sharing deals. And so that's where my huge heartburn ultimately came from. And my argument yesterday was, guys, look, at the end of the day, that's why FOIA laws exist. I use the example of education vouchers that have recently been passed in the state of South Carolina. We've got a law on the books that say homeschool. When we passed it, one of the provisions were that homeschool students were not going to be able to access those scholarships. Well, a report's just come out that there's been over 1,000 scholarships awarded to homeschooled students across the state in violation of state law. And really the only way that would have probably come to light is because of the Freedom of Information Act, law, and that information having to be disclosed by the State Department of Education. So it does matter. But unfortunately, at the end of the day, the unknown, Phil, the unknown of the true ramifications of that, of say in Alabama in the SEC, or of Florida State in the ACC, being able to know, well, Clemson is spending this much on their football team, Carolina's spending this much on their football team, So we've got to up that ante. We've got to push more money into our football teams so that we'll have more money to spend against these guys.
Mm-hmm.
That is what ultimately led me to break the unknown of how that could actually impact is what led me to say, okay, for the time being, we're not gonna make our schools do something that other schools don't have to do.
Mm-hmm.
Senator, this is Chris Bergen. We thank you so much for spending some time with us here tonight. Interested from the standpoint of what Dabo Swinney, Shane Beamer, Graham Neff, Chance Miller at Coastal Carolina, when they got a chance to speak to you guys on the floor, was that their main argument, that it puts us in an unfair competitive disbalance, if you will, or unbalance against all the other surrounding states? What was their direct comment and direct appeal to you guys as senators of the state about making sure that this money was not available to be FOIA'd and to find out exactly how much is going into the coffers?
Yeah, that was essentially it. They didn't speak to us on the floor. They didn't speak to us as all of the Senate. They were brought in actually the day after we gave second reading to the bill, and there were reports coming out with concerns about was the university sending tuition money into the athletic department ultimately to be used for revenue sharing deals. And so they came down, they all testified in front of a Senate committee, a smaller group of senators, not the entire body. But that was online and we were all able to listen. And that was exactly that.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's line is exactly the same. We hate it. We don't like it. We don't want it, but we have to do it. And again, guys, all I'm saying is if nothing changes at NCAA, if nothing changes at Congress, at some point we're going to have to draw a line somewhere. And I would point, I think it's Mississippi right now. I don't know if they passed it yet or if it's under consideration, but they are literally right now, talking about not making the players at their universities pay income taxes on this money that they make by being athletes, the revenue sharing money. And obviously now that will definitely be a very huge advantage, right? If there's not if the schools in the state of Mississippi don't require those students to pay income taxes, I would say that is a clear competitive advantage. So what will happen? Then we'll have our colleges and universities coming right back to the General Assembly saying the exact same thing, that they're saying right now, which is we have to do it. And I just don't like that. I don't think it's good for us to be making policies and laws because some other state is dragging us along with them. So at the end of the day, I do agree with those folks when they say, shame on the NCAA for allowing this to actually, happen in college athletics. Shame on them for not taking a stand in some form or fashion, instituting policies that the entire country has to abide by.
Yeah. Their problem is everything they tried to do got blown up in court. So I say blame some judges and blame the NCAA for letting it get to the point where it got all judicial, and then judges were able to blow up everything that they had been doing because they determined that it was violating this and violating that, and that left. And of course, the colleges were naked; they weren't prepared for all this kind of stuff to happen, and that's why they're scrambling here. But again, we're seeing colleges. In some cases, take advantage of the rules. Well, not even the rules, just taking advantage of the situation because there are no rules and just throwing, gobs and gobs of money. This is the last thing I want to get to, and we're going to let you run. And we really appreciate you coming on here and talking to a couple of political dummies, at least me, maybe not Bergie.
I fall into that category too.
I don't want to speak for Bergie, political dummy over here. But, I'm just a common citizen. And, most people in our state.
So am I, brother.
Yeah, I know. And most people in our state, maybe not necessarily sports fans, maybe not a fan of South Carolina, Clemson, Coastal, or anybody else. They just live in our state and do their thing. And I got to believe that people just want transparency. And you're talking about a situation here where some of these athletes, a very small number, but a few of them on these campuses, just use South Carolina and Clemson, for example, a couple of them are going to be the highest paid people on that campus. They're going to be let me back up. They're not going to be making more than the head football coaches, but they're going to be making more than the professors, and they're going to be making more than the university presidents, because you know as well as I do, we're pouring. Because of this, you've got individuals walking on the campus at Clemson and South Carolina, athletes who are making multiple millions of dollars a year. And that's more than professors, and that's more. But all that, everybody else on that campus who's getting paid, and these guys are getting paid. And this is where I have a hard time hiding behind the student protection thing, because you're not paying for it's not, just the scholarship and the room and board and the travel and all that. It's money in their individual pockets. They are getting paid. They're not calling them employees, but they are employees. And I think the common man and woman around South Carolina wants transparency when it comes to anything in our government operations. And that should include the athletic programs. And if South Carolina or Clemson is paying, a quarterback $4 million, instead of everybody speculating and guessing and reporting either factually or erroneously, what's the harm? And I don't buy the argument, and neither do you. Again, as you said, I don't buy the argument about the competition thing. I think that's a bunch of hocus pocus, that they had to have some sort of argument to present to you guys. If you guys don't support this, we're going to start losing. Well, you're losing now. Clemson won 7 games this year. Carolina won 4. So, I mean, come on. So my point is, and I know it's over with now. They've overridden the veto, and it's law or whatever the case may be. But it just seems to me that it's better to be open and upfront with people. And I think you're going to eventually see where you're going to have problems with fraud and other things that when it comes to dealing with this kind of this amount of money that's going to crop up involving these universities and these athletic programs.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely. Can't disagree with anything you said. There are nuances involved, when it comes to private money versus public money. Mm-hmm. What I am staying focused on is obviously what I deem to be public money, taxpayer dollars.
Yeah.
That flow to the schools and then ultimately to the students. That's what I absolutely believe should it ever be there, should have to be public. And I actually believe that it has to be public so that we prevent that from ever happening. If I was guaranteed that it was only going to be private donations that were going and ultimately being used to pay the athletes, there's an argument to be made there that that's no one else's business. It's not my business or your business if somebody else wants to give their money to a university to ultimately pay a player because that's now legal. Then, there's an argument there whether or not you agree or disagree. That's up to each individual person. But for me, and I feel like my role and my responsibility as a policymaker to my constituents and other folks in the state, it's about the money that they are forced to pay in taxes. And we've got to make sure that stays protected and that stays transparent.
And, of course, no tax dollars are going into any sort of this funding of the athletes. We all know that, right? That's not happening.
Well, no, but that's the point, Phil.
Yeah.
Like, we don't know that.
Oh, we don't?
And that's no, that's what I'm saying. Like, tax dollars are going to come to the state of South Carolina. Then tax dollars by us at the General Assembly, we appropriate them to colleges and universities.
Right.
Now, they're supposed to not be used for this type of expense. They're supposed to not be.
So how do you know if they're not being, if everything is undercover?
Well, that's the point that I'm trying to make, is that at the end of the day, that's why this was really egregious, really tough for me, really problematic for me, because there has to be some checks and balances there. If not, then I think because it's so competitive, right? Because we're talking about so much revenue flowing into our colleges and universities because of these athletic programs, and it is millions upon millions of dollars. The fear is always that then someone's going to find out how far they can push it. And look, I do believe money is fungible, right? So if you're not having to spend money on something over here, then you can move money over there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to continue to be problematic. I don't know where the bottom is, and I told my colleagues from the Senate floor yesterday, this is not the end of it. It'd be nice to be able to say that after this it was going to be over, but I feel very strongly that somebody else is going to do something again soon, And if the NCAA hasn't, or Congress could actually come down and do something for the entire country, if they don't do something, we'll be right back here again having this very same conversation about something else.
Well,
at some point, we're going to have to decide where we draw the line.
I find it funny, and we'll let you go. You got watchdogs that watch you guys every penny you spend, right?
Yep.
Every penny you spend.
That's correct.
Who's watching the people spending the money at the schools on athletes? Who's watching them? That's my question.
That's correct. No, I agree with you, and there are audits. I don't want to think, I don't want to leave everybody thinking that I believe that there's a huge conspiracy. There are audits, and there are, we've got financial checks and balances in place for all our universities and our state agencies. But I do believe in FOIA. I believe that that's one of the ways that people can continue to make people think twice before they do something that might be over the line.
You're a Go Tigers, right? You're not a Go Cox. You're a Go Tigers?
I'm gonna go both now, guys. In my old age, I'm very proud to represent the University of South Carolina in my Senate district.
Okay.
But yeah, certainly I've grown up a Tiger fan my entire life. And in this state, y'all know you got to pick a side one way or the other when November rolls around. So go Tigers.
Hey, we thank you, Senator, for being with us.
Thank you.
And
yeah, guys, I appreciate what y'all do.
Answering our questions. I don't know how good our questions were, how smart they were. We tried to be smarter than we actually are when we have to rise up and talk with politicians.
Great,
thank you, sir. Good talking to you. Yeah, thank you. Okay, Senator Russell Ott, Calhoun, Lexington, Richland counties, representing the Columbia metro area, for those questioning my identification of him. Appreciate him coming on board. And we'll be back. We got another Politico coming up, Mike Morgan.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, and fireplaces. Spring Sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The Point.
News this hour from Town Hall. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. Iran has launched missiles while discussions on a ceasefire go on.
Iran has responded to President Donald Trump's address to Americans on the war with new missile attacks targeting Israel and the Gulf Arab states, underlining Tehran's insistence that it rejects Washington's outreach for a ceasefire while maintaining its grip on the Strait of Hormuz. Britain Thursday plans to hold a call with nearly 36 countries about how to reopen the strait, through which 20% of all oil and natural gas traded passes in peacetime. The call will discuss diplomatic and political measures that could restore shipping once the fighting's over. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
A key agency has approved President Trump's White House ballroom project. White House correspondent Greg Clugston reports.
The National Capital Planning Commission approved the project despite a federal judge's order halting construction unless Congress gave its approval. The Trump-appointed chair of the commission said the agency went ahead with the vote because the judge's ruling affects construction activities but not the planning process. During a public comment period, comments were overwhelmingly opposed to the ballroom, which is estimated to cost $400 million and will rival the size of the executive mansion. Greg Clugston, Washington.
President Trump said Pam Bondi is out as his attorney general. Trump, in a social media post on Thursday, named Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche as the acting attorney general, though 3 people familiar with the matter have said he has privately discussed Lee Zeldin, the head of the Environmental Protection Agency, as a permanent pick. On Wall Street, a mixed day with the Dow down by 61 points. The Nasdaq rose 38. The S&P advanced 7. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Hey, I'm Kirk Cameron. Is health insurance eating up your budget for 2026?
If you're looking for ways to better steward your finances, consider this: Christian Healthcare Ministries. It's a health insurance alternative at half the cost. Join CHM today by visiting chministries.org/wellness. While insurance companies tell you when to join, what to pay, and where to go, CHM is different. As a ministry, CHM allows you to share the burden of medical bills with other Christians. You can enroll, switch programs, or leave at any time. Christian Healthcare Ministries. It's a world of difference. CHM has 4 flexible programs. You can pick any certified doctor, surgeon, or hospital that you want for eligible care. So make the switch. Take your paycheck back from health insurance this year. Join CHM today by visiting chministries.org/wellness. That's chministries.org/wellness.
Alex Vega reports mortgage rates are rising.
Mortgage buyer Freddie Mac says the average rate on a 30-year mortgage rose this week to 6.46%. That's the highest level in nearly 7 months. Mortgage rates have now risen 5 weeks in a row. As mortgage rates rise, they can add hundreds of dollars a month in costs for home shoppers, limiting what they can afford. While still down from a year ago, the recent rise in mortgage rates threatens to dampen the spring home buying season. I'm Alex Vega.
The Trump administration has scaled back its plans to dismantle the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Under the new plan, the Bureau's headcount would be reduced from 1,700 authorized employees before Trump's second term to roughly 550 staffers. The administration originally intended to shrink the Bureau's staff to around 200 employees. News and analysis at townhall.com. From Washington, I'm Keith Peters.
On Point Weather, brought to you by our friends at Palmetto State Armory.
On 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. Clear and comfortable this evening, the low dropping to 62. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy, a few scattered afternoon showers. Our high is 81. For the weekend, look for 84 on Saturday with a blend of sunshine and clouds. For Easter Sunday, not as nice. Showers likely in the afternoon. Our high is 80. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, and fireplaces. Spring Sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The Point. This is The Point. Make thepointradio.com. The Point.
Welcome back to Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network. You can reach the guys with the South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number. 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now back to Phil and Chris with the second hour of Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network.
Okay, we are back. It is Sports Talk Media Network on this Thursday night. Phil Kornblutz, Chris Bergen, the plumber, Josh Cohen. Thank you for joining us tonight. Enjoyed having Senator Russell Otts on with us. We got Coach Ken Potosnak coming up in a little bit, hardcore hardwood, and got a lot of baseball going on. Mike Morgan will join us here in just a second. A lot of baseball. South Carolina, Texas just getting underway. Scoreless, top of the first. Citadel has beaten Longwood 6-3. Western Carolina leads Winthrop 7-3, bottom of the third. Longwood beat Presbyterian. Huh? Wait a minute. Did I just say? Who did I just say? Who did I just say for Citadel? I just said they beat Longwood. I must have a.
Yeah, they would not have played Longwood.
No, okay. I got to go back and take a look at that. High Point is leading Charleston 2-0, bottom of the fourth. And Coastal Carolina up big on South Alabama, 8-0, bottom of the third. Plus, you got most of the SEC, ACC teams in action tonight as well. Everybody trying to get in before the Easter holiday, not play on Easter Sunday. So we'll update those scores for you in just a little bit. Right now, though, time to turn our attention to the man who knows all, tells all, shares all with us here on Sports Talk. It's time for Mike Morgan.
Morgan on the Move, driven by JT's Kia on Greystone, Killian, and Rock Hill.
Uh-oh, guess what day it is? Mike. What day is it, Mike? Leslie, guess what today is?
It's Mike Day.
Woo-hoo!
All right, Mike Morgan brought to you by Play It Again Sports in Harbison. Chris Mosley runs the best sporting goods shop in the Palmetto State with all the things you'll want to buy, sell, or trade. Best selection, best prices, and a great friendly staff. That's Play It Again Sports in Columbia. Welcome in, Mike. How are you?
I'm doing good, guys. How are you?
Great to have you with us. Where are you for this weekend? You working or are you on a holiday break?
This is my first weekend off in 33 weekends. So I have gallivanted down to South Florida. Going to have a little golf, going to have a little beach, going to have a little sun, going to have a lot of good times.
Well, remember, turn before you burn.
Yeah. Let me tell you, I've heard every golf tip in the book, and I'm still bad. But you know what? There's always hope. There's always
well, I'm talking about not getting a sunburn while laying on the beach.
Oh, I thought that was a swing technique.
No, that's
no turn and burn.
No, turn before
you do turn.
You do turn.
I turn and then I burn the ball into the trees. Typically,
understood.
But that's just me. Hey, by the way, if in your vast South Carolina audience,
yes,
I've never been to Augusta, and I'm not going to be able to go this year. But I have a friend and his son who's a really good amateur golfer. I realize these things now have become like currency, selling Masters badges. Although I'm told you can get in a lot of trouble if you try to do that on the secondary market.
Correct.
But if you know anybody who is looking to, at a fair price, sell too, I have someone who's very interested, and I'm just trying to do a good deed. I gain nothing out of this. I'm just a handler.
No
I'm
commission?
Just trying to help
You're not
somebody
getting
else.
a commission out of
this? I'm not getting a dime.
Well, how are we supposed to get in touch with this individual?
Well, they'll get in touch with you, and you have my contact info, and before you know it, we're making dreams come true. We're like a Make-A-Wish Foundation.
So you want us to be the middleman. You want Augusta to get mad at us and take away our credential.
No.
That...
No. I didn't say media credential.
No, I know. But if they hear us participating in a secondary market ticket buy and sell here, they might yank Don Williams' credential. And you know what that would? You've never seen fury. You've never seen hell rain down on somebody like you would feel it in that particular case.
That's true. Yeah. No, I would not want to. Would not want to halt Don's continuing comprehensive coverage of the Masters. But I think if you offer them up, of course you could give them away as a very charitable deed. It would be great karma. Or you could actually sell them at market value. I don't think that's illegal. It's the people that are trying to put them on the secondary market and get like $10,000. That's what'll get you in a lot of trouble.
You can get Phil Mickelson's tickets that he has available. He's not coming. He's backed out of the Masters this year.
I don't know, Phil, but if you'd like to pass along, or maybe you could have Don do it, since Don is Mr. Masters. He could have Don reach out to somebody there.
All right, so we got South Carolina, Texas getting underway, and boy, the Gamecocks, they could certainly use a series win this weekend. It's a tough task, number 2 Texas. How good is this Texas team? Have you had a chance to see them this year?
Yeah, I know a thing or two about them. I mean, they're very good because they're very complete. And if you look at the teams that are in the top 5, in the case of Texas, and maybe you could extrapolate that to top 10, they're complete in that they're both really good on the mound and good at the plate, and that's a rare combination. There's a lot of teams that can hit that are not that great on the mound, and eventually that'll catch up to you. But Texas has the best of both worlds, as you would expect Texas to. They have not really been. If you go back, gosh, I mean, Phil, you and I were in Omaha in 2002 when Texas won the whole thing, beat the Gamecocks in the championship game. Texas has had moments here and there, but they're not the dominating program that I think a lot of people think they would be. And they've gone through a coaching change, and it's amazing to me. There's certain jobs that I look at. Texas is one of them. Georgia is another, although they're having a good start to the year and starting to pick it up with their new coach. there's just no excuse for those programs to not be really good at the sport of college baseball. There's just so many things they have at their disposal and to their advantage.
Well,
this year's
No, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say this year's installment is a really good team. That if you want to turn your season around, and let's face it, there's a lot of people kind of looking at this as almost a referendum on the current coaching staff. If there's any chance that there's not going to be a full-fledged change in Columbia, if you want to turn your season around, win 2 out of 3 at home against a highly ranked Texas team, and now you've got everybody's attention, right? I mean, if you keep losing series after series, at some point it's all Paul Maneri's fault. You can't, that runs a little thin. At some point, it's like, okay, maybe we need to step up our game here if Carolina is going to be a national power. Somebody brought this to my attention. I didn't even think about it, Phil. In 2002, Carolina went to Omaha, broke the seal. That was the first time in 17 years. I remember it because that was the call. Pack your bags, Columbia. First time in 17 years, Gamecocks are going to Omaha.
Yeah.
You realize the next time they go to Omaha, there might be a similar call. It might be another 17 years because it's been since 2012. So there's a whole generation of Gamecock fans that are sitting there and wondering, what it was like to be a national power in their beloved sport of baseball. There's a lot of things going on there that I find fascinating.
Did you get that copyrighted, the pack your bags thing, like you did stick it in your pipe, Arkansas, and smoke it? Did you?
No, unfortunately, I did not. And you know what? If they go back, I'm more than happy to lend that call to whoever's the announcer at the time, whether it's Derek or somebody else, who knows. But no, I did not. But I mean, in all seriousness, I mean, when you think, and I know Clemson hasn't been since 2010. We've talked about this before. I mean, what is going on with those two premier programs where it felt like for a time there you couldn't go 2 years without the Sports Talk traveling circus going to Omaha to cover at least one of those teams, if not both. And now you have found yourself saving a lot of expense reports because you never go to Omaha anymore because you haven't had the need to, except if it's coastal. So I just, if you would have told me, and I think if you would have told your average Gamecock or Tiger fan, if you would have told us back in 2012 that, yeah, you're not going to see another, Carolina or Clemson in Omaha for about another 15 years, I think people would have thought you were insane. But we're kind of looking at that right now.
Yeah, excellent point. Mike Morgan on the move. As I look at the SEC standings right now, a couple of things really jump out at me that I want you to talk about. Number one is Mississippi State and the turnaround that they've had under Brian O'Connor, tied for the lead at 7-2. And then I want you to add on to that what's going on with Vanderbilt. Why are they middle of the pack right now at 5-4 in the league? LSU is 4-5 in the league, and of course we've talked about. Oh, and I guess the other one to talk about is Tennessee with their new coach, and they're 3-6 in the league. Yeah. So, are these numbers misleading in some way, or are these teams are what the records say they are?
Well, I mean, it's pretty early. I don't want to pretend that I'm going to be the overall expert on breaking down what the future looks for those two teams. But I will say this. I mean, Vanderbilt, once NIL became a thing, and once we got rid of the ridiculously stupid and completely unethical 11.7 rule in college baseball, Vanderbilt lost its advantage. We don't have enough time to get into what that advantage was, but let's just say there was an advantage that Vanderbilt had. Every coach would come up to us whenever we broadcasted a game on TV and said, "You guys ought to talk about this," but we never did. But we all knew what it was, and that's not a knock on Coach Corbin, who's an outstanding coach, who's done an outstanding job. He'll be in the Hall of Fame, but that edge is not the same because now, you might have a certain scholarship edge, but if I'm willing to spend $3 million on NIL, I can match you and in some cases surpass you. And that's what's happened at Vanderbilt. It's not as if Tim Corbin has forgotten how to coach, but he doesn't have this distinct edge and talent anymore. And then in the case of Tennessee, I mean, look, what Tony Vitello did was amazing. I don't know if and let's remember that coach, Elender, was a guy that a number of people thought should be the guy at South Carolina. He's not exactly doing great things right now in Knoxville. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure if anybody's going to match what Vitello did in a short amount of time there. He pulled off a miracle, because that was a moribund job for 15 years, and he made it a national power. But that doesn't mean they're going to remain that. So I'm curious to see what happens there. But I don't think either one of those teams are matching what you're seeing at the top. At the top, you know, with programs like Mississippi State and Texas. And you mentioned LSU. Look, I've seen LSU do this before, and everybody says, "What's wrong with LSU? What's wrong with LSU?" And then they go on a 12-3 run, and then they wind up in Omaha. So I'm not going to take that bait and say that LSU is completely down and out.
Sure.
Mike Morgan with us here tonight on Sports Talk. Mike, I want to get into the Final Four in just a couple of minutes, but let's shift gears over to college football for a minute, because I think this story is fascinating. Phil and I were going to get into it shortly, but get your take since you're on the air. Alabama's AD Greg Byrne announcing, or at least in a story that Brett McMurphy wrote earlier today, says he now believes the SEC should get rid of the SEC championship game with an expanded college football playoff, saying that ship has sailed, is his direct quote. It's run its course. Are we looking at the waning days, the final couple of years, perhaps maybe even the last year of the SEC football championship game, do you think?
Is that what Brett McMurphy said? Is that who you were quoting?
Yeah, no, Greg Byrne, the AD at Alabama.
Greg Byrne said that. Oh, I missed that. Now, that's good. I mean, because nobody really cares what Brett McMurphy says. But
right. Brett wrote the story. I'm sorry.
You are on vacation, all right? You are on vacation. You're allowed to miss
I
things.
am. So thank you. Thank you. Greg Byrne actually said the SEC championship game is well, had he won the last couple of ones when he changed his opinion on that? I mean, seriously, if Alabama was winning that game the way they did under Nick Saban, something tells me Greg Byrne wouldn't come out publicly and say that. So, look, I'm a big believer in this. As long as Greg Sankey is commissioner, the SEC championship game ain't going anywhere. So people can try and belittle it, undermine it, diminish it. It's not going anywhere. It's got a really prestigious tradition. It's a moneymaker. It's a great promotion of the league itself. So I don't think it's going anywhere, no matter how much an AD or two or three call for it to be extinguished. I just don't see it anytime soon.
You know, let me jump in here real quick, because
go ahead, Phil.
As an addition to this, Chris Lowe has just written a story just popping up, and he says about Kirby Smart. He quotes Kirby Smart on this subject as saying, quote, he's, well, not quoting here, but he's paraphrasing. He's okay with it ending if the playoff expands. Now, quote, but if we're going to leave it where it is now with 12 teams in the playoff, I'm not for removing the SEC championship game. So basically he tells Lowe he's in favor of eliminating the championship game depending on the CFP parameters.
Now, that's a voice that is going to carry a lot of weight. Athletic directors' voices don't carry weight in this. Mm-hmm. Head coaches like Kirby Smart, they do, because Kirby's been in that game, gosh, how many times now? At least a half a dozen. And, of course, he's won multiple SEC championships. Look, I understand where a Kirby Smart's coming from. If we keep expanding the playoff and we keep playing extra games, what is my motivation to risk an additional loss and then you don't have the extra time off? So I get what he's saying. I will still fall back on what I said earlier. I don't think there is a scenario where the people that run the SEC are going to pull the plug on that game. There's just too much. There's too much tradition in that, and I realize tradition has fallen by the wayside. I'm starting to sound like you, Kornblut. Mm-hmm. Tradition has fallen by the wayside, and money is ruining everything. And all these whippersnappers with their playoff and their expanded playoff.
All true.
I get it. Mm-hmm. Right, but I will be shocked if that thing goes away anytime soon.
I don't think they should end it until South Carolina wins it at least once, so they can match the ACC. One ACC championship, one SEC championship. They got to get at least one. You know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Well, let's see if that can happen.
Mike, before we let you go, final thoughts from you on the Final Four this weekend: Illinois, UConn, Arizona, Michigan. I'm guessing the Arizona-Michigan game is one everybody wants to see, but considering how UConn got to the semifinal is somewhat nothing shy of remarkable. I'm thinking all four of these teams have a shot. I like Arizona, picked them in the bracket, but who do you like coming out this weekend to play on Monday?
Well, I picked Arizona, too. I've had 3 of the 4 teams that I got to broadcast this year in person, everybody but UConn. I love what Brad Underwood has done at Arizona, and people ought to take note, and this will be a story if they advance, maybe less so if they don't. What they have done is they have an assistant coach who I've met who speaks like, I don't know, half a dozen languages. He is their key to get all these international guys. Mm-hmm. That's been their formula. They get grown men who know how to play the game and who are grateful and thankful for the opportunity to do so and make money in the process. And that's what they're doing. They're basically saying, we're going to get the best international slate of players every year. And it's worked pretty well for Brad Underwood at a place that's not a blue blood, right? I mean, people might say, well, I don't remember Illinois winning a national title. Well, it's Illinois, okay? It's not Duke. It's not Kansas, but the international flavor, that's why they're there. That's how they have built that thing. Arizona's been my number 1 team since January, since I saw them. I'm not backing off that now. I'd love to see an Arizona-Michigan final, but we're not going to see that because they don't reseed them. But that clearly is the marquee game, not to undersell UConn versus Illinois, because I think that could be a great game too.
Okay, Mike, we'll let you get back to your filet mignon there at the restaurant, and I imagine you're having a little bit of Domaine della Romane Conti with your meal tonight.
Stella is the drink of choice tonight. I don't know what you just said.
Stella.
But it sounds, yeah.
Stella. That's the name of the plumber's girlfriend this week, Stella. So that's interesting. Nice.
Well, I'm not having her, but I'm having the beer. If I had her, I'd have a lot of explaining to do.
Yes, you would.
Yes, so let's keep me out of trouble, please.
The wife wouldn't go for that. Thank you so much. Have a great weekend off doing nothing while we slave away, and we'll talk to you next week.
Appreciate it, Mike.
You please do. See you guys.
Yeah, the Domaine della Romane Conti is like the world's most expensive wine.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Now it sounds like he's going Stella Artois.
Oh, I love Stella.
The beer.
It's good beer. Mm-hmm. That's very good beer. Let's see. Gamecock fans drinking beer tonight over at Founders. 0-0, top of the second between those two. Back in a moment.
Every lottery ticket purchase keeps education in our state moving forward. In fact, the lottery has raised more than $200 million for state school buses to get our students to school safely every day. Then, the lottery helps those students go even further in their education by funding the Life, Hope, and Palmetto Fellow Scholarships. So remember, when you play the lottery, you're keeping South Carolina students on the road to success. Learn more at sceducationlottery.com/betteryou.
Major Billy Downer here from the Department of Natural Resources, and DNR is excited to announce the implementation of Go Outdoors SC, a new online licensing and boat titling system that you can access right from your phone. Through this new system, customers can purchase their hunting and fishing licenses, renew their boats, apply for lottery hunt opportunities, and complete electronic harvest reporting requirements. For more information, visit Go Outdoors SC at your local app store.
Effective training is not just about lifting heavier weight. It is about producing force with control. The Tsunami Bar was developed in 2012 to enhance high-intensity workouts while helping reduce joint stress. Its flexible design creates controlled oscillation, requiring your muscles to stabilize and work together throughout each movement. This promotes greater muscle activation, improved balance, and stronger functional performance. Tsunami Bar Sports is committed to continuous improvement, delivering dynamic training tools for individuals at every fitness level. Whether you are focused on long-term strength, injury prevention, or improving rotational stability for sports like golf, Tsunami Bar Training supports total body performance. Discover more at TsunamiBarSports.com. Visit TsunamiBarSports.com. That's TsunamiBarSports.com.
There's a lot of things we take for granted in our lives. Your home's AC will run cool. Your drive-through coffee will be hot. And the car will start when it's time to take your kids to school. It's when things don't go as planned that you start thinking about who to call and where to turn. The good thing is, you can prepare for life's most difficult days by calling the Larry Lucas Agency today. Larry is a State Farm agent that has been taking care of people across South Carolina for more than 2 decades. You probably have insurance, but switching is easy, and bundling can save you hundreds or more. Most importantly, the Larry Lucas Agency can help you choose the protection you want at the price you want. All backed by South Carolina's #1 home and auto insurance company. Visit LarryLucasAgency.com today or give Larry a call at 803-799-1998. Like a good neighbor, Larry Lucas State Farm is there.
All right, top of the second, South Carolina, Texas 0-0. Both teams have 1 hit. Right now, Texas has a runner on first, and they have 2 away. Update other baseball. I was right. Citadel did beat Longwood 6-3. The thing with PC, that was a tennis match I was looking at. That wasn't a baseball game.
When you mentioned PC and Longwood, I thought, well, that makes sense. They're both in the Big South.
Yeah.
Kind of surprised the Citadel would be playing a non-conference weekend.
Yeah, I clicked on a tennis link there. Western Carolina leading Winthrop 8-6. High Point over the College of Charleston 2-0. Top of the 6. Coastal 8-0 on USA. Be right back.
On Point Weather, brought to you by our friends at Palmetto State Armory.
On 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. Clear and comfortable this evening, the low dropping to 62. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy, a few scattered afternoon showers. Our high is 81. For the weekend, look for 84 on Saturday with a blend of sunshine and clouds. For Easter Sunday, not as nice. Showers likely in the afternoon. Our high is 80. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
Hey y'all, this is Ted from Flight Deck Restaurant. We'd like to invite you and your family to dine with us. We have a great menu that's sure to please your whole family. We have fresh cooked burgers, big juicy wings, blue plate menu featuring country cooking, oven baked hoagies, fresh crisp salads, authentic Greek food like gyros, souvlaki, and baklava. We also carry 20 different premium cheesecakes and pies. Flight Deck Restaurant also has an arcade with 30 different games like Star Wars, Batman, Skee-Ball, Bass Wheel, Pac-Man, Galaga, and so much more. Flight Deck, your favorite family restaurant. Thanks y'all and God bless.
So 3 people. With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has asked the Army's top uniformed officer to step down as the United States wages war against Iran. Top Pentagon spokesman Sean Parnell said Thursday that General Randy George will be retiring from his position as the 41st Chief of Staff of the Army effective immediately. Pentagon officials aren't offering a reason for George's departure, which comes nearly 5 weeks into U.S.-Israeli attacks on Iran. President Trump says Pam Bondi is out as his Attorney General. Trump in a social media post on Thursday named Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche as the acting Attorney General, though 3 people familiar with the matter have said he has privately discussed Lee Zeldin, the head of the Environmental Protection Agency, as a permanent pick. More details at srnnews.com.
Are you tired of that sinking feeling when the electric bill arrives? Does the phrase peak hours trigger anxiety and a headache? Do you suffer from chronic fatigue of watching your hard-earned money evaporate right into the power grid? You may be suffering from utility pain and anxiety disorder, or UPAD. Symptoms include sweating when running the AC, a fear of turning on lights, and a general feeling of powerlessness over your energy costs.
It's time for you to try Solarist from Ken at Broker Solar. Broker Solar isn't a temporary fix, but a lasting solution with cutting-edge solar technology designed to address high energy bills at their source. Many clients have experienced immediate relief from high monthly payments with reports of increased home value and greater financial freedom. Imagine a brighter future for your home and your wallet. Side effects include the freedom to use your appliances when you want and a powerful sense of energy independence. Broker Solar, a brighter outlook for your home and wallet. Call us now, 803-807-7417. That's 807-7417 or online at brokersolar.com.
The Easter sale is live now at your local Palmetto State Armory. Hop over today to find great savings like select Vortex Optics up to 50% off and select SIG firearms as high as 25% off. And the deals don't end there with great savings from brands like Smith & Wesson, Ruger, Beretta, and Hollison. Find the best deals this Easter and all spring long only at Palmetto State Armory. American made for life.
At Team One Sudduth Automotive on Millwood Avenue, we make caring for your car effortless, day or night. Enjoy our easy drop-off even after business hours. From oil changes to full engine overhauls, our certified technicians handle it all the right way with a 2-year, 24,000-mile nationwide warranty. Plus, it's easy to book an appointment. Go online right now, team1automotive.com. You can pick the time that fits your schedule best. Team One Sudduth Automotive, where reliable, transparent service meets your convenience.
As a business owner, you want your customers to have the best experience possible, and that includes convenient parking. If you have designated parking spaces or an entire lot, Schroeder's Towing can provide free signage and installation for businesses to deter unwanted parking and removal of abandoned vehicles. Contact Schroeder's Towing and ask about free signage for your spaces or lot. Take back your parking. 803-772-7930 and SchroedersTowing.com.
Schroeder's Towing, Columbia's finest and fastest hookers in town.
The original Pancake House in Trenham Plaza on Forest Drive prepares fresh-made pancake and crepe batters every morning. These are an assembly line pancakes. They're incredible. You gotta try those apple pancakes or a Dutch baby. Is this breakfast or dessert? We serve only quality meats, thick bacon with freshly squeezed orange juice. Great tasting coffee. We start serving every morning at 6:30. Taste what fresh is all about at the original Pancake House. Forest Drive in Trenham Plaza. Our menus online. OPHColumbiaSC.com.
Hardcore Hardwood with Ken Potosnak on Sports Talk.
Okay, welcome back in, everybody. Sports Talk Media Network. Aren't there some words to that?
There was too.
There were.
I didn't hear them.
Well, you may replay the song?
No, you don't have to. I just didn't hear the words.
I can show you on the screen where they played.
No, I'll take your word for it.
There you go, right there.
Okay, very good.
They played.
So everybody knows it's time for Hardcore Hardwood with Coach Ken Potosnak. And what a time to have the coach with us. It is Final Four weekend in Indianapolis for the men, in Phoenix for the women. Coach, welcome in. How are you?
Doing great, Phil. How are you guys?
Good. Before we do anything and before we forget, because we had the coach on the other night, how about Lander playing for the Division II National Championship in Indianapolis this weekend? How about that accomplishment for those guys?
It's fantastic. One of the all-time best, Brian Reese, the athletic director, former Citadel trainer, former Furman trainer, and aide to Bobby Johnson and administrator at Vanderbilt, leading Lander to a potential Division II national title. That's awesome.
You know much about the team? I mean, in your circles, as your travels, have you had a chance to run across them at all this season?
No, I tell you, Phil, we do so much with sort of the top 100 high school players and sort of the top 60 players. We're sort of focused on that, and we sort of watch those guys develop, into the Power 5 level. So more familiar with that. But I will tell you, playing in small college and the great experiences that small college basketball can give, it's an awesome thing for them. I know that Emory down here in Atlanta and Jason Zimmerman, who played at Davidson and was a longtime Division I assistant at Davidson, and as well as Evansville, has taken his team to the national championship game versus Mary Washington in Division III. And just watching those guys and those teams over the course of time. It's a really, really special thing, and small college basketball is some really, really good basketball.
So this game will be Sunday at 1:00 on CBS Sports. So what a great thrill for the kids and for those schools, Lander and Gannon. You know much about Gannon? They're They are 32-3. They're 32-3.
Yeah. Gannon has a great tradition. Gannon is actually in Erie, Pennsylvania. When I was at Randolph-Macon, we had a terrific Division II program in the '80s. It's actually now Division III, but we played Gannon at Gannon and lost on a buzzer beater at Gannon in 1988. But they've always had a terrific Division II program there in Erie, PA.
All right, let's turn our attention to the big Final Four, and what first of all, what'd you think about the end of that Duke and UConn game?
You know what? As soon as it happened, it reminded me very, very much of a game that many that follow basketball in South Carolina would probably be aware of when Virginia turned the ball over with 8 or 9 seconds left, threw the ball to the middle of the floor, very much like Duke did the other night when Caden Boozer tried to throw it into the middle of the floor. The Virginia guard at that time versus Furman in the first round of the NCAA tournament did the exact same thing out of a trap, and it was stolen at half court. One pass ahead, and Furman hit a three right at the buzzer to beat Virginia by 1. And it was almost a carbon copy. So when I saw it, and when I saw it leave his hand, I sort of thought right away back to that play. And it's interesting. People will talk about coaching, or it was a freshman mistake, or what have you. But in both those instances, it was a veteran player who was a 5-year player for the University of Virginia. Made an in-game mistake, as well as Caden Boozer, a freshman who's played in a big role in 35 of Duke's games this year. He knew where to go with the ball. He just didn't throw it quite high enough, and it got tipped. And so it was an incredible ending and a great shot by Braylon Mullins, a freshman from Indiana who was in our top 25 as a high school player coming out last year.
Yeah, I tell you a couple things. People said that all he had to do was hold the basketball. All Duke had to do was hold the basketball and wait and get fouled. And, yeah, I guess you could have done that. Sometimes it's hard to get that point across to your players. You got a million things running through your mind.
You call a timeout beforehand. That might have worked.
Yeah, maybe call a timeout beforehand and discuss these things. I mean, there's a lot of things that you could have done. I know that Shire said afterwards that he didn't want to call timeout because he didn't want to give UConn an opportunity to, I guess, set up their defense. But I guess UConn's defense was set up and ready for them because they were pressuring them pretty good coming off. I guess it was off a free throw.
Yeah, well, what I will tell you with that is he did have one timeout left. If you use that timeout and then you can't get the ball in bounds, then you have a real problem. So they did have a timeout. They got the ball inbounds right to the middle of the court, and any time that you can get the ball to the middle of the floor during versus pressure, it opens up a lot of options for you. In the Virginia game where Furman trapped Virginia in the corner, Virginia actually caught the ball in the sideline corner. It was easily trapped when Kai Clark threw sort of a hook pass to the middle of the floor without much vision. I mean, Caden Boozer's 6'5". He catches it in the middle of the court, and really when he turned, he had two guys wide open. If he could have just threw the ball higher, it was the game is over. But there's really no reason to call a timeout. They got the ball in, they got it to the middle of the court, and he just didn't throw the correct pass. So things happen so quickly. You can't coach every play, and it's just a really, for Duke fans, the guy loses 3 games by a total of 5 points this year. And, he loses at the buzzer to Texas Tech, he loses at the buzzer to Connecticut, and then he lost at the buzzer basically on a 3-pointer to North Carolina. That's why it's a great game, and that's why they call it March Madness.
And fans have no patience. They don't care, that you only lost 3. The fact is, at that level, you lost the big one that kept you out of the Final Four, and they cut you no slack anymore. Though he's not in any danger or anything, but you do see people, writers, the national writers, starting to beat that drum. Well, he can't win the big one. He can't get Duke over the hump, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, at 35-3, I think he did pretty good. So there's always next year.
Yeah. Well, but you don't have the same team next year. You used to be able to say that. These guys who suffered through this loss a few years ago, they'd all be coming back and they'd be motivated and driven. It's like that Virginia team. It's like that Virginia team that was so good a few years ago. They lost in the first round, remember? And then the next year they came back and won the national championship. I don't know exactly how many players suffered that first round humiliation, but those that were on that team in return, they were certainly motivated by that fact. They won the national championship. How many of these Duke players are going to be back next year?
Well, there's a lot that are right on the cut line. Obviously, Cameron Boozer is not. He's a lottery pick. But you have Isaiah Evans and Sarr, and you have a lot of guys that are somewhere in the draft equation, and they just got to sift through it as it relates to, if they're going to be a first-round pick or not. If you're going to be selected anything below 35 in the draft now, and there's no real guarantee on it for any long-term contract potential. The amount of money that these guys are making now, I know you had a guest on earlier that was discussing some of that. You don't know how much the guys from Duke are making, but most likely they're making more than they'll ever make in the NBA, a lot of them.
Wow. That's right. Wow to that. All right, what about we had Frank Martin?
But we got to be transparent. We got to get the number. They've got.
Well, I agree.
They've got to come up with the number. So when you start to kill your coach, when you start, when fans start to say they're disgusted with their coach, if we know the number, then you can add everything up, and then you can compare the coaches in what they're doing. If they don't come up with the number, you can never. Adequately, get a feel for who the best coaches actually are.
So we had Frank Martin on earlier this week because we love talking to Frank Martin. And, of course, Brad Underwood was one of his close buddies, assistant coach, Kansas State, and then South Carolina briefly before he got his head coaching career going. And, man, he's 3 stops SFA, Oklahoma State, now Illinois, and he's got him in the Final Four. And one thing that Frank said about him, besides him being an excellent coach, is that and we just had Mike Morgan on, and Mike made an excellent point as well. They recruit these foreign players, these older players who can really play basketball and play it at a high level. That's sort of, I guess, how they are building their success there in Champaign by tapping into that foreign market.
Well, Stojakovic is obviously a foreign player. His father played in the NBA for years. He was a 12, 13-year NBA veteran. Stojakovic started at Cal for 1 year, then Stanford, and then his third school in 3 years to Illinois. He's a terrific wing. He's a driver, 6'6", 6'7", super talented wing scorer. And they have their best player is their point guard, who is from Kansas City, Wagler, 6'5", sort of combo guard. He has the highest upside of anybody on their team, and he just sort of came out of nowhere. They've done a great job evaluating him as a freshman. But like you said, the rest of their lineup, in giving them quality time and minutes, particularly at the forward and center spots, are filled with foreign kids. I think we've mentioned it. It's a big world, and if you can't get them in Chicago, if you can't get them out of the Midwest, wherever, it's a big world. If you can go overseas and certainly have the money to do so, you can go buy a really, really good foreign player who's playing professionally overseas. You've seen it at a lot of schools this year. Virginia has had 3 foreign kids up front that were terrific big guys for them, as well as Illinois. And, they're expensive. They're $1 million players or more. Again, I would like to see the payrolls to be able to add that up. But I think you'll see their size, their length, and their talent for position is going to give the big kid Reed from Connecticut all he can handle inside on Saturday.
Yeah, I remember when they were at South Carolina early on, Martin and Underwood recruited foreign players, in particular from this school, as I recall, in Kansas, around Kansas City, Sunrise Academy. Remember that school? Does that ring a bell?
Yes. Sunrise, yeah.
Yep. Got a lot of those foreign players out of there, and I think it helped them get their program going. So, all right. So, have you decided who you like to win it all from the Final Four? Who do you have?
You know what? I think it's so even. It's obviously a coin toss between Arizona and Michigan. I think the Arizona-Michigan winner is going to eventually win the national championship. But, the UConn game is going to be interesting as well. UConn has some veteran players. They've been there before. Illinois, this is their first time in a while, but certainly a talented group. I know Illinois is slightly favored. I think both games are going to be great games, and eventually the winner of Michigan and Arizona is going to win the national championship.
Well, we certainly appreciate it tonight. We'll connect with you again next week, kind of put a wrap on this college basketball season, look ahead to the off season, some more hardcore hardwood. Can't get enough.
Bill, I appreciate it. And let me give you an update. Arkansas and Auburn are tied down on the Plains after 4 innings.
Well,
got a barn burner
well,
down
let me
there
tell you this, big
Stockfield.
boy. South Carolina just put a 5 spot on Texas. South Carolina is up on number 2 Texas, 5-0 in the top of the third. So how about that? Put that in your pipe and smoke it.
ESPN2, we've got a good one, 17 Arkansas playing 18 Auburn down at Hitchcock Field. That was always fun to watch a little baseball in the spring down on the Plains. So
Absolutely.
if you need anything else this spring, I'll be with you.
All right, Coach. Thank you.
See
We'll
you
talk
guys.
to you next week.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, thank you. Okay, Coach Ken Patosnak, multitasking for us. No, 5-0 South Carolina getting to Rougerie Ojas. Make sure I
Very
get
nice.
his name right.
And getting those clutch hits, Phil. 4 extra base hits, 3 in a row. They got to think 3 doubles and a triple in the second inning.
Now the question is, they're in the top of the third. Can South Carolina's pitching make these 5 runs hold up? That's going to be the big question moving forward. Recruiting is coming up.
Hi, I'm Jim Corbett. I've been an attorney for more than 30 years. There's one thing I've learned about injury cases. It's you need the personal touch. You need the lawyer to get to know you and describe your damages. You don't want a case manager talking to an insurance company and then talking to you and then talking to maybe to a lawyer with limited experience at the last minute to try to settle a case. I talk to you, I find out what your case is about. Jim at JimCorbettAttorney.com. Jim at JimCorbettAttorney.com for your injury cases.
Looking for a new car? You need to think about a Kia.
If you're in the market for an SUV, consider the new Kia Telluride or the new Kia Sorento. They're big, they're strong, and loaded with tech for thousands less than Honda or Toyota. You'll see the difference right away, and you get double the warranty. Plus, you get the JT's Advantage million-mile warranty and about 1,000 other things you have to see to believe.
If you want the biggest bang for your buck, it's time to think about a new JT's Kia.
We're serious about saving you money.
You've put in the work for your education. The extra early, extra late, extra work. That's because you understand education opens doors to better pay, better opportunities, and a better you. Being educated about playing the lottery is no different. It helps you be a better player, one who knows when to play and when to take a rain check. The lottery's a game, so let's keep it fun. Learn more at sceducationlottery.com/betteryou.
We're with Major Billy Downer of the Department of Natural Resources, and we're visiting at the brand new DNR offices at the State Farmers Market. Major, tell us more about this place.
That's right, Phil. The Department of Natural Resources has a new office located at the South Carolina Farmers Market. You can find us at 260D Epting Lane inside the Farmers Market grounds. Look for the DNR logo when you turn off of Highway 221 in West Columbia, or you can always go to the App Store on your Apple or Android device and look for Go Outdoors SC. Download the app and you can buy all of your license needs right there.
Visit GoOutdoorsSouthCarolina.com today.
The Sports Talk Recruiting Report is sponsored by Seawell's Catering.
All right, recruiting brought to you by Seawell's. No Seawell's Daily Luncheon Buffet tomorrow because it's Good Friday. So they're taking the Good Friday off and closed for a few days next week, too, I believe. So
closed until Wednesday. They're back up on Wednesday.
All right. So, anticipation.
I tell everybody, yesterday, you better go eat, fill up, because it's going to be a while. It's got to hold you.
But you know what? Just think positively that late next week you can get back to Seawell's for the Daily Luncheon Buffet. And don't forget Seawell's for your catering needs. Any of your catering needs at your location or their location on Rosewood Drive. 803-771-7385, online at SeawellsCateringSC.com. According to Tom Loy of 24/7 Sports, South Carolina has offered quarterback Derek Baker, 6'1", 226 of Milton, Georgia. He's been committed to Tennessee since February. I find this very interesting. If this information is correct, I don't know why South Carolina would be offering this individual who looks totally locked in based on his social media. He looks totally locked in with Tennessee. Of course, you never know until you make an offer. But there's also been reporting by one of the, is it Rivals or 24/7 guys? Well, two different guys. I think Steve Wiltfong has already said that projected South Carolina to get DJ Hunter, the quarterback out of Beaufort, Georgia. And then today, another Rivals report, I think it's Sam Spiegelman. I think he's Rivals. No, he's 24/7. He projected South Carolina to get Jerry Meyer III out of Texas. So, how many quarterbacks is South Carolina going to take? My point is, if South Carolina knows that they're getting one of those other guys, why would you be offering another guy at this point? But again, I guess you can never offer enough, and you never know until you offer. Then again, you can question the projections that these other folks have made about predicting where these guys are going to be going. Offensive lineman Thomas Gosher, 6'7", 265 of Gray, Georgia. He was at South Carolina on Wednesday. Clemson has moved up to the top in pursuit of cornerback Kelvin Millington, 6'3", 180 out of Bogart, Georgia. Not Bogard, Bogart. And he said after visiting Clemson that it's the personal touch from the staff that's made all the difference with him there. So he went to see Georgia, and then he visited Clemson. And Wake Forest, Alabama, they've also been involved with him. Cincinnati and UNLV, they have offered him. But it was a trip to Clemson last month that really has pushed the Tigers up to the top with him. Now he's just waiting on the offer from Clemson to see what is going to happen from there. Navy, Wake Forest, Texas A&M, they've been pursuing him as well. Alabama also remains in the hunt. Navy, Wake Forest, Texas A&M, I said that. Millington has this spring been to Navy and Georgia along with Clemson, and he has unofficials to Alabama Friday and Wake Forest on April 18th. Last season, he had 64 tackles, 14 pass breakups, and 3 interceptions. Bottom line is Clemson is very strongly in the hunt. We'll see if the Tigers move on him moving forward. Defensive end Desmond Malpress of Jacksonville told 24/7 Sports South Carolina currently leads after a recent visit. He's also been to Georgia, Florida, Georgia Tech. He's also high on Tech. Offensive lineman Jackson Elston of Oxford, Alabama, has set June 20th for his commitment announcement. South Carolina, Arkansas, and Georgia Tech are his 3 finalists. He'll take officials to each. South Carolina offered cornerback B.J. Allen, 6'2", 180 of Atlanta. He's got officials with Virginia Tech on May 29th and also officials with Vanderbilt and Mississippi State. He's been committed to Mississippi State since last September. Offensive tackle Abraham Eisenhower, Valdosta, Georgia, was at South Carolina Wednesday, along with 2028 linebacker Hayward Belzer of Heathwood Hall. Wide receiver Deion Cooper of South Pittsburgh, Tennessee, has set an official with Clemson for June 12th, per Tiger Illustrated. And that will do it for tonight. Thanks for being with us. Have a great night, and we'll see you tomorrow.